Welcome to 101. I'm Greg Bassey, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. Today we have one of my favorite people in the whole county here, Dr. Kathy Townsend from our Board of Education. Welcome, Dr. Townsend.
Thank you.
Now you are the Assistant Superintendent of Administrative Services.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure someone knows what that means. But you're in charge of the nuts and bolts of the things that go on over at the school board and with our great schools.
Yes, with all of the business services, finance, transportation, human resources. I have 6 different departments, and great team. I love it.
And we've had Dr. Townsend on before, and she was a very popular guest here, so I'm glad to have her back. And today we're going to talk about something that's completely different for the school system, something called LeaderCast. What is LeaderCast?
Yes. LeaderCast, there's kind of a story behind LeaderCast. They've been in business actually for about 12 years, and their whole purpose is to provide, it's an organization to provide leadership skills to the world. And the neat thing was a couple years ago, I had the opportunity to go to a LeaderCast event. It's a webcast, a worldwide webcast that, hundreds of thousands of people are watching this webcast, and they have world-renowned speakers. But I had that opportunity, the Caroline County Chamber of Commerce was hosting it, and I thought, this sounds really interesting because that's kind of my background. My degree is in innovation and leadership, and I really kind of thrive on that sort of thing. So I went and came back just totally motivated and inspired. And so last year I sent some of my staff to go. They came back with exactly the same, they were just pumped up when they returned. And so we began to talk about it, and instead of having to go up to Caroline County, which they were great hosts, we thought, wouldn't that, in this time of rebuilding in our city and in our county, wouldn't that be a great event to have here in Wycomico County? So we began the process to find out what we could do to have it, and through several months of work, it's finally coming to fruition, and we have several great partners as well who are sponsoring it. I don't know if I can share with that.
Absolutely.
We have the Chamber of Commerce, which they always are forerunners in sponsoring. Greater Salisbury Committee, Salisbury University, Warwick, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, and the Public Library. And so they all have jumped on board, and they're excited about it as well. So it's going to be a great event.
Now, where will it be held?
We're going to have it at the Y-High Auditorium on May 6th from 8 to 4:30.
All right. And this is the thing, like, it's piped in.
Yes.
And people are invited to come. Now, this is where I get real sarcastic and cynical. School system's supposed to be siloed off, and you guys just focus on kids and yourselves and stuff. You're having an event for the public?
Absolutely. But unfortunately, that has kind of become what people look at us as being siloed. And of course, one of my pieces from the business perspective is to make sure that we are integral into the community. It's very important, that whole leadership piece. And as they talk about leadership in LeaderCast, it's not, they say you don't have to have a C in your title, a CEO. That anybody, a stay-at-home mom can be a leader. It's just the difference between being a leader and being a manager, having those creative ideas. And LeaderCast is founded on 12 guiding principles. There's 5 core values and 7 behaviors, like visionary leadership. Actually, the title of this year's event is Architects of Tomorrow, and it's on visionary.
Wow.
And of course, that just fits in with what so many people in our county, some of our young leaders are just stepping up and what they're trying to do. And so we want to be a part of that. As a school system, we want to be there to help create that visionary leadership and forward thinking in our county.
That's so cool. Now, I looked at this list of speakers, and 2 names jumped right off. Nick Saban, the great football coach from Alabama, and Steve Wozniak, one of the creators of Apple.
Yes. There's some great speakers. And then Dr. Henry Cloud, who is, of course, a world-renowned psychologist, and Andy Stanley, who is actually a pastor, but he is also a motivational speaker. There's Kat Cole, who is Auntie Anne's and Cinnabon.
Right.
So there's some really, really great speakers. The year that I went, I think why I came back so motivated, two of the ones that really jumped out at me were Russell Wallace, who was the producer and director of Braveheart, which is
Right.
one of my favorite movies. His story brought everybody in the auditorium to tears. It was just amazing. And then the other speaker was Desmond Tutu, and he was speaking from Africa. So
Right.
it's there's people who were up in the middle of the night doing their piece
Right.
for LeaderCast, and his speech was just so motivational, and they all bring their own little piece of the pie about what leadership means to them in their world, and it was just a great event. Everybody walked away thinking, "Wow, we're inspired," and how can we take these guiding principles of leadership back to our organization and be a part of a bigger picture? And so, visionary leadership is really what we need here, and it seems like there's so many people moving toward it. It was just, for us at least, it was a great fit to become more involved in the community and to bring people in. And of course, our sponsors have just been wonderful.
Is leadership something you're born with, or is it something that you adopt from someone that you admire?
Well, I think it's both, actually. I've always kind of had an interest in leadership and studying what does it make, what does it take to make an organization tick and to be successful. And of course, the philosophy of LeaderCast and my philosophy is it starts at the top. If you have a very positive, visionary leader, then that's going to trickle down through the organization. So no matter where you are, the other piece that founding premise of LeaderCast is that you don't have to be whatever seat you're in, and that's what we're trying to promote within our school district. You're a teacher in the classroom, but boy, are you the most important leader there.
Right.
Because you're a leader of 30 or depending on how the schedule goes, those kids, and you're their leader, and you can instill many of these behavior traits and these leadership qualities in our students. And of course, our job is to create leaders for tomorrow within our community. So
Right.
it's very, very exciting.
It's funny. I noticed with my own kids, when I went to school 40 years ago, I was taught to get along and to follow. It was right after the 60s, and they wanted us all to just follow what was going on. But I can see now that they're trying to teach leadership, that they're trying to grow leadership. Is this something you all think about? Is it conscious, or is it just how the society's changed?
Well, I think it needs to be conscious. I think it needs to be purposeful, and we need to look at those qualities. Oftentimes, our students don't come with some of the qualities that we would hope that they would have, for whatever the circumstances are, in the home. And so, starting right at pre-K, we need to begin to instill the qualities of honesty and responsibility and integrity and service to others and being visionary and being creative. We need to do that from the get-go and all the way through. And so I think we're really beginning to catch on, that we want our students, although we want them to be very respectful and to be, a part of a greater picture.
Right.
We want them also to step out of their comfort zone, because that's so hard for us as adults sometimes to step out of our comfort zone. We want to teach our children to be able to do that and to be creative thinkers and to look at the future. It's not always about what we did, but it's about what we're doing and where we're headed. If we don't know where we're headed, then we're lost.
Right. The event's in May.
Yes.
What's the date?
It's May 6th from
Okay.
8 to 4:30 at the Y High Auditorium.
Okay.
Now, there is a fee of $69.
A fee?
Yes, but
Everything's free, isn't it?
But we really did. We tried to subsidize it so that people would come. That everybody would have who wanted to come would have that opportunity.
Right.
And it's not just for business leaders, and it's not just for people at the Board of Ed. It's for anybody in the entire community who would like to be a part of this event. And
No,
I guarantee
gonna
they'll
go.
walk
Yeah.
away with.
I'm no leader. I'd like to be a leader, but I want to see
You
Steve
are a leader.
Wozniak, so I'm going to go just for that
Yeah.
reason alone.
Yeah, and the speakers, they just bring such a diverse perspective, so it's very exciting for us. And again, it's one more way for the Board of Education to plug in and partner with our sponsors.
Okay. If I want to go, who do I call?
Okay, a couple different ways.
Okay.
One way is that on our webpage, the Board of Ed webpage, in our scrolling banner, there'll be a place that you can click and you can go out to the LeaderCast webpage that we've created, and you can sign up and register there. The other way is the Chamber of Commerce has been terrific. Sophia at the Chamber of Commerce has put it out on Twitter and on Facebook, and they also are sending that out to all of their 800 and some chamber members. So you'll have an opportunity through that to click out and go to the webpage. And
Now-
then also there's I can tell you what the exact website is, but they would probably be the two easiest
Sure.
ways to get there.
And whenever you say Sophia, we have to say her last name. 'Cause it's
Sophia
so much
Smecker, she's
Smecker.
wonderful.
It's just fun
Yes.
to say Smecker.
Yes, but she's been so all of them, all of our sponsors, but Sophia's that person who can get it out for us.
All right. Well, now I have you here, so I have to ask you, how's the school year going?
The school year is going
It's
well.
almost over.
It is. It's amazing. You gear up for the school year, and you have milestones like Thanksgiving and then Christmas, and then the spring starts to come in, and it just flies by. So it's going very well. We've been able to accomplish a lot of things, particularly in the administrative services side, because that's my division. But
Right.
we just really have. We're looking forward to some new horizons. As you know, there's a search on for a new superintendent, so that's
Right.
exciting. We have
Talk about
lots
leadership. That
and-
person's going to need some leadership.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so it's just an exciting time in education. There's lots of changes, as you know, between Common Core and college and career readiness, but
Right.
but we're trying to keep everyone positive and all the arrows moving in the same direction and keep everybody going. So it's an exciting year.
We have a big story coming up in the Salisbury Independent, my favorite newspaper, the Salisbury Independent, about the Phase 3 of Bennett finally being finished with the
Yes.
track and the football stadium, mini stadium going in there. And it looks like the work's going really well on that.
It does, yes, and that's exciting too because they've waited as Bennett Middle finally got into their school, and now Bennett High is getting. We had to move Bennett Middle to get there, so
Right.
that's exciting. West Salisbury is on the plate to begin
Hold your breath.
construction. Yeah, so it's never a dull moment, that's
Right.
for sure.
And then the next thing, what, Beaver Run is on
Beaver
the list?
Run is we have to begin the feasibility studies
Right.
and take a look at the condition and whether it would be a replacement school or a renovation. So there's, people kind of see, once the shovel goes in the ground, that forward, but there's many, many, many years of work
Right.
prior to a project, as you
And
well
then
know.
Glen Avenue as well.
And Glen Avenue
yeah.
is also on the list.
It's funny in the paper, because Glen Avenue and West Salisbury are basically the same school.
Uh-huh.
I got 2 letters from people complaining that I didn't know the difference. I'd taken a picture of Glen Avenue and said it was West Salisbury.
They look almost identical.
Yeah, and I
Yep.
never noticed how close that they were,
Yeah.
but I guess they were built pretty much at the same time.
They were at the same time. They're sister schools, and it's funny. I kind of have a heart for Glen Avenue because was there the first
Right.
year it was open. That was
Right.
my school, and it's an excellent school. But as you know, we build schools for 50 years, and that's about the timetable, and we keep them on our books for 70 and 80 and 90.
Right.
And so the maintenance part of it is very, very important, and we have done a great job with that. Our facilities department has done a great job with
I
that.
think it matches life because I'm 55. I started breaking down around 50, and I'm on the books for 70. So
Or later, or 90.
I always ask this: what can we do to help you in your job there at the school board? What can we do? What can the public do?
Well, I think, and we've talked about this before. I think just ask questions, ask lots of questions, and if there's all this rumor mill stuff going out there, call somebody at the board and say, what's the story about this? We would like to know. We are obviously trying to get the word out about what we're doing through your venue and through lots of other venues, because it is important that the public stay informed and that we have that open, honest communication piece. So I've tried to become pretty involved in the Chamber of Commerce because that's a great audience for
Yeah.
us to be able to give that communication. So it's just being open, honest, and collaborative and communicative. So, and we appreciate what you have done to help us do that.
Thank you. Thank you. She's Dr. Kathy Townsend. She's my favorite assistant superintendent of administration ever here in Wycomico County. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Joining me in the studio now is Micah Stauffer. Micah, welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
You are the Director of Secondary Education for Wycomico County Schools.
Yes.
So I've got to ask, my daughter is a 11th grader at Bennett. Why does she have so much homework?
Well, we're preparing students to be college and career ready in high school now. So I think that it's important to make sure that they are indeed ready once they are entering graduation.
Well, in my business, people have complained to me about education and teachers and schools for years and years and years. My phone has always been filled with people complaining about schools. But my own personal experience with my kids in the Wycomico County school system has been excellent. It's just the teachers are great, the administrators are great, the facilities are certainly improved. So tell me some of the great things that are happening in the high schools in the secondary education.
There are a lot of wonderful things that are happening in secondary education. We have students that are participating in robotics and going to national competitions, students in career technology education that are winning and entering national competitions. We have students that are going into 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges, Ivy League schools, the military. They're going into a career right out of high school with certifications that they earned while in high school. Just last year alone, we awarded over $10 million in scholarships to Wicomico County students.
That's amazing. It really is. And the success rate of people going to college and then doing well in college from Wicomico, it's proven.
It has been proven, and we're strengthening that. Our focus is college and career readiness in high school, and that's something that we have been working on. In past decades, the focus was, can we get the student to the stage? Can we get them to graduate high school? And now we're thinking much farther beyond that. We want to make sure that not only do we have students that are all graduating high school, but that they're prepared, that they're going into wherever they want to go after school with that preparation needed to be successful in whatever endeavor they have.
Right. And now, in watching my own kids, school is so different now than when I went to school 30 years ago, obviously. Do teachers and administrators realize how hard it is to be a high school student?
I think absolutely. It certainly has changed. And if you take a look at some of the new programs and new initiatives, that is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to meet the students where they are and then take them where they want to go.
Right. And all that goes to career readiness. The idea that you're training someone to be ready to take a career or to do something with college.
That's correct. Some of the programs that we have taken a look at and expanded on that have been successful for us are, of course, our CTE, or Career Technology Education Program.
The old VOTEC.
That's correct,
Right.
But it's not the old VOTEC
Right.
anymore.
Right.
The programs that we are adding, such as Project Lead the Way, is a pre-engineering program that's extremely rigorous, that students are involved with all 4 years while they're in high school. We're really excited about another program that we're adding next year called the Teacher Academy of Maryland, or TAM, and an interest in looking at how can we develop our own teachers right here in the high school to go into college, learn their trade, and then come back and work for us. And looking at how we recruit teachers outside of our system, sometimes it becomes very difficult. So we've taken steps to develop our own, grow our own, so to speak, in our high school courses.
What's the biggest challenge that the teachers have?
I think the biggest challenge that teachers have in many cases is certainly making sure that students are prepared for what they want to do as they get out of high school, making sure that the curriculum is aligned, that the technology is in place with the resources that are available, so that indeed they are prepared as they move forward, making sure that that you're successfully getting the student to participate in the curriculum and to face the rigors that they need to be able to be successful with, but at the same time find a way to develop and support them in moving towards that goal.
Right. Now, I know the parents have the constant decision, do they support their kid or support the teacher? As a parent, I always back the authority. I always have. Because I think the teachers are really good. And you want to back up that person who's influencing your kid. What do you recommend for parents in terms of having a relationship with the high school teacher?
I think just communicating with them, making sure that those lines of communication are open. Get to know a little bit about what the schedule is their child has taken,
right.
And to get to learn a little bit about what their day looks like, the kinds of things that they're learning about, and some of the programs that we were talking about earlier, some of the requirements of those programs, and certainly get to know the teacher a little bit and understand where they're coming from, what their goals are for their students, what their expectations are, and then work to find ways to meet them, halfway, to not only support the teachers, but at the same time endorse what the teachers are doing in the classroom.
Right. What's a good age for a kid to decide whether they want to go, like the VOTEC route or the college route?
great question. We are actually starting that now as early as 6th grade, where as students move into middle school, we have an online program now that we are utilizing very heavily called Naviance. And it's been proven to be a great program for us. It's kind of like a career interest program, an online counselor, college admissions, all rolled up into one.
Right.
And students start in 6th grade looking at working with that program and developing and finding out what their career interests are. And then course guidance counselors at the middle school level are then working with those students to figure out, okay, this is what your interests are at this point in time. Now how can we get you to that point by the time you graduate high school? And that's the idea, so that each year that scheduling is progressed in that manner. So it's starting as early as 6th grade, but then students are going through tours of the Career Technology Center in 8th grade and 9th grade if they have that interest, and then starting in CTE programs as early as 9th grade and going through those completer programs. We have programs that range from pre-engineering to nursing assistant programs, criminal justice, culinary arts,
Yeah.
welding, auto technology, and computer-aided drafting and design, high-performance manufacturing. These are very rigorous programs.
Yeah.
And things that we're very proud of, that we're just expanding upon each year to find out how can we get more kids interested in these programs, and then how can we successfully transition them into those programs moving forward, so that when they are in that situation in high school, they have that as an option. Of course, they have dual enrollment as
Right.
an option
Right.
as they enter into their 11th or 12th grade year, so that truly when they graduate high school, they are ready to go in whatever direction they want to go in.
Right, and I would encourage anyone to go out there and see that CTE center. I don't know if you'd let the public wander around out there, but it is really impressive.
We do have open houses. We have recently had a Skills USA competition, which is a national competition, and that is open to the public as well, where they can actually see the students competing in their various programs of study. It's truly amazing.
Yeah. In my favorite newspaper, the Salisbury Independent, this week, there was a great article about Destination Imagination, which I just love that. And I guess it's out at Salisbury Middle, where the big event is this weekend. But talk about how the school system interacts with DI. To me, it's just really incredible.
Well, DI is a great partnership as well, and almost all of our schools in the county are involved in one way or another. There is a local competition this weekend at Salisbury Middle School, but Destination Imagination is another great organization that is preparing our students to be college and career ready. It is a STEM-oriented program that students are learning and participating in, that can truly help them to progress and sometimes work with others in the team building, and also get out of their comfort zone a little
Right.
bit. And it's all about collaboration and out of the box thinking, and those are the kinds of things that we see that employers are looking for today.
Yeah. I mean, people do rag on the system, but when you see a DI event and see those presentations, or Rock and Roll Revival, you're just amazed by what's really going on in the system.
It's as much about what students are learning as it is about them learning the work ethic that they need to be successful.
Right. We got another big story in the paper this week about the Bennett athletic fields headed toward completion. That's going to be real nice. It's probably not something that you're that involved in, being a curriculum guy, but that school is going to be state-of-the-art when it's done now.
It truly is, and that'll be the final phase of the new Bennett High School, Phase 3, and that'll bring the athletic fields online and truly make that a campus that is ready to serve the students within that district. So it's really going to be an amazing area for students to be able to not only learn, but then take advantage of wonderful extracurricular activities to connect them to the school as well.
What does the public need to know about our school system that will help them to understand what's really going on inside of it?
I think the opportunities that are available for students is something that is truly important for parents and anyone in the community to become familiar with. You know, more than ever, schools are trying to meet the needs of a very diverse population of students and to help them be successful in what they're going to face later in life, to be college and career ready. And another program that we recently have become involved in was a large grant that we received from the state of Maryland called Gear Up.
Right.
You know, gaining early awareness and readiness for undergraduate programs. And so as they are going through, it's really focused on the class of 2020, but it's a $1.8 million grant that we are going to be using in a variety of ways. One, to enhance what students are already doing, enhance the programs that we know are working. We've been able to add to our after-school programs, both at the middle school and the high school level.
And they are really important.
They are. And we're looking at ways to connect kids to school. And I think that's the most important thing. You know, students don't go to school every day to necessarily learn about a particular subject that they may not
Right.
have as much interest in, but they will go to school if there is something there connecting them to school, whether it's through athletics or whether it's through one of the other wonderful extracurricular activities we have, such as DI or robotics or, you know, our after-school programs. But Gear Up is designed to help enhance those programs so that we can have more participation, provide our staff with needed professional development to help meet our students' needs. And also a neat thing about this is that a third of that entire grant will go to awarding scholarships to students once they get all the way through school.
Wow.
So it will help even transition them,
Right.
you know, from high school to college through those scholarships.
And transition's the key word because you guys recognize how important that is. These kids are constantly transitioning. I mean,
They are.
going from 6th to 7th grade to 8th grade, it's every year it's a big deal.
It is a big deal because they're learning a whole new curriculum, a whole new set of expectations.
Right.
They're learning new teachers, new environments. One thing that we recognized certainly was the transition from 8th to 9th grade, going from a little bit of a smaller learning community in middle school to a larger learning community in high school. And we saw through our own data that, you know, that's a tough transition for students to make. We saw that typically behavior might increase in 9th grade, you know, GPAs might go down a little bit. So we've worked hard to make that transition successful for students. One program we instituted this year was something we call our Youth Leadership Program or Freshman Panel, where we brought students, all of our 9th grade students in at each one of the high schools through a variety of methods, whether it be small group or large group, and where they listened and were able to ask questions that were relevant to them from a panel made up of their own peers, but upperclassmen. Students that had gone through that transition already, maybe faced barriers or problems, but overcame them to be successful, so that they were on this panel and kind of gave them advice on how
Wow.
the 9th graders just starting out could be successful in high school, what problems they faced, but how they overcame those problems, the importance of connecting to school, the importance of building relationships with their peers, and also most importantly with their teachers and those that they would be working with over the course of the next 4 years. And our hope is to take this even one step further and to develop that into a leadership program where the students kind of take this over each year, so
Wow.
that they would be developing these panels and these experiences for students. And from the panel and from the questions that the students ask, develop programs that would help answer those questions and meet what the needs of the students they saw were. Maybe opportunities to go on to a college campus or to look at other programs,
Right.
or to just simply provide time for more in-depth collaboration between the upperclassmen and the ninth graders, just to help almost as a student mentorship program, so that there's someone in that building that they can go to if they have questions that they can relate to and know that this person possibly went through some of the same things that they were going through.
Well, it's 79 days to Memorial Day, so good luck for the rest of the year as the weather finally turns.
Thank you. It's a beautiful day out there today, that's for sure.
Thanks. He's Micah Stauffer. He is the Director of Secondary Education for our Wycomico County School System, and we're thrilled to have him here today.
Thank you so much.
Greg Bass, another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.